in your breath. Try to leave aside whatever happened before you got here today. Leave aside the upcoming week and just allow yourself to be present in this moment. Next, you're going to inhale for about 4, 5, or 6 seconds. And then exhale the same amount. It can be any number, whatever feels comfortable to you. Just inhaling and exhaling even amounts. Now, with each of those exhales, let go of any stresses, worries, negativity. Let's do one more round of breath this way. And then return to your natural breath. Next, start to wiggle your spine up a little bit straighter. Imagine somebody's taking a string from the ceiling and pulling your head up towards the ceiling. Notice what that does to your posture. And then next, kind of tighten up your core, coming from your pubic bone, kind of pressing that back and stretching up even more. And then inhale, bring the shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale, slide the shoulders down your back and open up your chest. One more time. Inhale, bring the shoulders up. And exhale down. Keeping that nice tall posture as you slowly start to open your eyes. Take a deep breath here. And then we'll get started with a neck stretch. So we'll take the right arm up into the air, touch your left ear, and then bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Nice deep breaths into the side of the neck. And you can place the left hand out on the floor beside you. That will give you more stretch. So if that's too strong, you can place the hand back down. Even more stretch, you can walk that hand out a little bit more. Just make sure you're resting the shoulder down away from the ear, not letting it go up towards the ear. Just allow the side of the neck to open up. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. And then gently release and bring the head back up to center. And we'll do it on the other side. So lifting the left arm up, grabbing that right ear, and then gently bringing your left ear towards your left shoulder. You can keep the hand on your leg or bring it out beside you for a little more stretch. Relaxing that right shoulder down away from the ear. And take 3 more rounds of breath here. And then on your next inhale, gently come back up to center. You can shake your shoulders out a little bit, maybe roll your neck a little bit. Any movement that you feel like you need here. And then we are going to come into a wide knee child's pose. So we're going to bring the knees wide on your mat, bring your toes together and sit back on your heels, and then stretch the arms up towards the top of the mat. If the wide knee child's pose isn't comfortable, then you can bring your knees together. This way allows your hips to get a little bit more of an opening than with knees together. So that's the benefit of the wide knee. Really stretch your hands up so you can stretch into your shoulders. Nice deep breaths, feeling yourself sink deeper and deeper into the mat. If your mind is wandering, you can focus on your 4-4 breath, the breath that we did at the beginning, evening out the inhale and the exhale. This child's pose does help to gather the attention inward. Notice if you're starting to tense up your jaw. Let your jaw relax. Maybe wiggle it back and forth a couple times to help it relax. Two more rounds of breath here. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to lift your head. We're going to come up onto our hands and knees. And we're going to come into puppy pose from here. Let me unplug myself for a second. So puppy pose, you're on hands and knees. Make sure you have some room in front of you on your mat. Then you're going to walk your hands out on your mat and press back, kind of like downward dog hands. You're pressing your hips back and then trying to drop your chest as close as you can to your mat. And then if possible, you can bring your forehead to the mat. You can also place your forehead on a block at any height that you need it. So we're looking for a good stretch across the shoulders. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then on your next inhale, come forward, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. And then we're gonna lower down onto our stomach, coming into Sphinx pose. So we'll be bringing, you guys can't see me on there, your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Good. Fingers pointing straight ahead. Kind of press the tops of your feet down into the mat. Let your chest open up. This might be strong on your lower back, so you could always walk your hands forward a little bit, and that will take some of the back bend out. So this one we won't be here too long. Just try to get the chest nice and open. Try to keep your chin parallel with the floor if possible. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. We're gonna do just a slight movement into seal pose. So we're gonna walk the hands out a little bit, kind of pushing yourself up with your arms. So that can be a lot on your lower back as well. You can stay with Sphinx, or you can just make the hands go, make your body a little bit lower. So you walk your hands up a little bit more. So the more you walk them back, the more kind of back bend you get. Try to keep the feet pressing into the mat. That will help protect your lower back. Two more rounds of breath here. Good. And then on your next inhale, lower the elbows down. I'm gonna gently press back into child's pose. Knees together this time, being careful of your lower back. Stretching the arms up for a couple of breaths. And then dropping your arms down beside your legs. Let your shoulders relax. Let your lower back relax. Just imagine your body melting into a big puddle onto your mat. Two more rounds of breath here. And then On your next inhale, you can slide the hands back up under your shoulders and come back up to, you can come to seated, you can come to seated on your legs like this, or to hands and knees. I'm just going to show you a couple things so you can just be comfortable for a moment if you'd like. So our next pose is going to be pigeon pose. So I'm going to give you options for that though. But so pigeon pose, I'll walk you through it when it's time, but we'll look like this. So that's not in everyone's practice or comfortable for everyone. So another option that we have today is if you have your blocks, and if you want to do this version, you could start setting up now, but you don't have to. You'll take your right foot, bend the knee, and then kind of just come to the top of your knee on your left knee. So just kind of bringing that back, and then you can lunge forward a little bit like that. And the most gentle option, if this is a tough area for you, would be to lay on your back and come into figure 4 stretch. So just placing your ankle on your thigh. So I know that's 3 different things, but they're all great in their own way. So choose whichever one feels good to you. So if you want to come into pigeon, because I think we got you set up on the other one. So pigeon will start hands and knees. We'll bring the right knee to the inside of the right wrist and slide that left leg back, top of the foot on the mat. Then you can stay upright. You can come down onto your elbows or make a forearm pillow and fold all the way down. If you feel like you've chosen the wrong one and you need to switch, please do, that's okay. And at any time if something doesn't feel good, just come into child's pose or something that does feel good. And try to breathe into that right hip. And trying to release the tension there. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then on your next inhale, gently start to come out of your position. If you're in pigeon, we'll press up, bringing that knee back. If you want to take a moment to take a child's pose, kind of evening out the hips. And we'll get set up for the other side. So coming into pigeon, taking your blocks and bringing the other foot forward, other leg back, or laying on your back and placing your ankle across and over the other leg. And if you kind of push this knee away from you a little bit, that'll get a little deeper for you. So lots of options. Take what you need. Pigeon will be bringing the left knee to the inside of the left wrist and sliding the right leg back. And then your choice, staying upright, coming to elbows, or folding all the way down. You can even rest your head on a block if that feels comfortable to you. Nice deep breaths into that left hip. This is where we hold a lot of tension and stress. So we really need to work that area. Let that go. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, slowly start to lift the head, gently pressing back up to your hands. You can either you can kind of just roll yourself out of that, or you can bring that knee back to meet the other knee. And again, taking a child's pose to stretch that out, even the hips out. Take 3 deep breaths here in your child's pose. And on your next inhale, gently lifting the head, we're going to come to laying on our stomach. So we're going to do a shoulder stretch here. Let's see, I'm going to start. Yes, I'll start with the right arm, so I think you can see that better. So we're going to lay down, bring your right arm out straight out from your shoulder. You're going to use your left hand to push yourself over onto your right side, so you have control. You can stop anywhere along the way or try to get yourself all the way to your side. Then from here, you can stay here, or you can place your left foot behind your leg. You can lift the left arm up, maybe let it fall a little bit, or place the top of the hand on your lower back. Just listen to your body, find the stretch that works best for you. Nice deep breaths into the shoulder. Take 2 more rounds of deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, bring that left hand back underneath the shoulder, gently roll back onto your stomach. And then gently slide the right hand back under your shoulder. Then we're going to do it on the other side. So we'll lift the left arm. So the left arm is going to go out from your shoulder, out to the side. Use your right hand to push a little or as much as you want onto that side. Once you're there, you can decide if you want to bring that foot behind your leg, if you want to lift the arm up and let it kind of fall, or place the top of the hand on the lower back. Nice deep breaths. And take 2 more deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, bring that right hand back underneath your shoulder. Gently roll back onto your stomach and bring the left hand back under your shoulder. And one more time, we're going to press back into child's pose. You may want a wide knee on this one. Stretching those arms up. So now we're kind of evening out the shoulders again. Stretching the hips and the lower back again. Just staying here for a couple of rounds of breath. One more breath here. And then you can gently start to lift your head. We're going to come onto our back. Just kind of rolling over onto the back. Just placing your feet on the mat. You can drop your knees together, giving the lower back a little bit of a break. Take 2 rounds of breath here. Good. And then on your next inhale, you can bring the knees apart again. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest and stretch your left leg out long along the mat. So point through those left toes and squeezing that, hugging that right knee in. So we want to hug a little bit, but don't tense up your shoulders and use your shoulders a lot. Try to let the shoulders relax as much as you can while still hugging in that knee. Notice how tightly you're squeezing the knee in. Try to let those muscles loosen up a little bit. You're probably starting to tense your chest and your shoulders and your arms. You don't have to work all of that to keep the knee up there. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then release that knee. Point the right toes. So you're straightening that leg as much as you're able to. And then gently lower that leg. Nice and slow. And then once it reaches the mat, then stretch even more through the toes, stretching that leg out. Good. Now we'll take the left knee, hugging that leg in, that knee in, and keep pointing through those right toes. And again, try to not make it too much about the shoulders and the chest. We're trying to let those relax. Two more rounds of breath here. And then release that left knee, point the toes up into the air, straightening the leg, and then slowly lower that leg long along the mat. When that foot touches the mat, stretch through those left toes. And then also stretch through the right toes. And then stretch your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Take a deep breath here. And then let your feet relax away from each other. Bring your arms back down by your side. And we're going to bring the feet to the mat, bending the knees. And then we're going to hug both knees into the chest. Letting the shoulders, chest, lower back all relax. Take 3 rounds of nice deep breaths here. And after your 3 rounds of breath, release your knees and place your feet back on the mat. Next, we're going to bring the right ankle across and over the left leg, the figure 4 stretch that I showed you earlier. You can stay with that stretch, or you can come into eye of the needle. So lifting your legs, bringing them towards you, and then to clasp your hands either around your left thigh or around your left shin or knee. Try to flex both of your feet if you're in the eye of the needle. And then drop your shoulders down a little bit more towards the mat, and you'll feel an even deeper stretch when you do that into the hip. Taking nice deep breaths into that right hip. If you feel your hip kind of resisting, tightening up, just breathe into it. Try to let it go. Take 2 more deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, release the hands, bringing the left foot back to the mat, placing the right foot back to the mat. Then just let your knees drop side to side a couple of times. And then bring the knees back up to center. Get your hips readjusted and comfortable. And then we will place the left ankle across and over the right leg. You can stay there or come into eye of the needle, hugging the legs in, clasping your hands either around the right thigh or around the right shin or knee. Nice deep breaths into that left hip. Two more deep breaths here. then release the right foot down, place the left foot down. And again, you can windshield wiper the knees back and forth a couple of times if that feels good. And then bringing the knees back up to center, stretching the legs out long, stretching through the toes. We're going to stretch the arms up again for another full body stretch. And then from here, we're going to come into banana pose. So you have a couple options with your arms for banana pose. So your arms are stretched up. You can have your hands just on top of each other, or you can grab opposite elbows. Stuff above my head. You could grab opposite elbows, or you could grab your right wrist with your left hand. And then we're going to walk the feet over to the left. Bring your upper body and arms over to the left. So they're going the same direction. We're in the shape of a banana. So if you don't feel anything, then walk everything a little bit more. And then to get a little bit more out of your shoulder, if you're holding your wrist, just stretch that wrist up a tiny bit more and you'll feel a lot more stretch into that right shoulder. So you should be feeling a good stretch down that whole side of the body. Try to take nice deep breaths into that right ribs, especially. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And then after your 3 rounds of breath, gently walk your feet back to the center. Bring the upper body and arms back to the center. We're going to switch our hands. So if your hands were just on top of each other, switch that around. If you're grabbing elbows, you can stay how you are. And if you're grabbing your wrist, grab your left wrist with your right hand. And then we'll walk the feet over to the right. Bring the upper body and arms over to the right. If you need a little more stretch in that shoulder, gently pull on the wrist. Nice deep breaths into the ribs, letting them open up. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And then on your next inhale, bring the feet back to center. Bring the upper body back to center. And let your feet relax. Let your arms drop down by your side. And then any movement that you feel that you need here. You would need to hug the knees into the chest, maybe rocking side to side. We'll have our one final pose before Shavasana. So when you're ready, we're going to take one of the blocks, bringing your feet to the mat, knees bent, and we're going to lift the hips up and place that block underneath your hips. So it shouldn't feel too uncomfortable. So if it does, if it's poking you in the wrong places, try to get it like right at that, your, what do you call that, pelvic bone back there? What would it be called? Place to get kind of right there, where it's that flat part. And then if it's comfortable to have your knees together, you can, or you can have them up. You can bring your legs straight. And for your arms, you can just let them be by your side, or maybe fold them on your belly. Just trying to let that lower back release and relax and get a little break. Hips get a little break. If you want to get a little more shoulder opener, you can bring your hands, your arms into cactus arms. So bringing them on the floor, bending the elbows. Fingers, and so palms are up, fingers are pointing out, straight up. If you start to get uncomfortable, our next pose is Shavasana, so you could just get yourself into that. Otherwise, we'll be here for about a minute and a half more. Take 3 more deep breaths here. And after your 3 rounds of breath, gently lift your hips, remove that block, and very gently set your hips back down. And we will get ready to come into Shavasana. So if there's anything that you need to do to be more comfortable, go ahead and do that now. And then when you're ready, laying on your back with your eyes closed. Quieting the thoughts, deepening and lengthening the breath, and allowing your body to take in your yin practice. This is where it all comes together. And starting with the top of your head, imagine the tension melting out of your forehead, out of your jaw, and out of your neck. And imagine the tension melting out of your chest and shoulders, arms and hands. Imagine the tension melting out of your back, abdomen, hips, legs, and feet, until your whole body is completely relaxed. You have nothing to do for the next few minutes but relax. Shavasana. Slowly start to bring your awareness back to your body. Start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. Make some wrist circles, ankle circles. And then let your head drop over to the left. And then over to the right. And then when you're ready, roll over onto your side, pausing there for a moment. And then when you're ready, using your hands, push yourself up to seated with your eyes closed. If you'd like, you can place your hands at heart center. And take a nice deep breath here. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice how it feels to stop and listen to your body. Notice the difference in your thoughts, your breath, and your body from when you first started. Hopefully you feel a little less tension and a little more peace. May you be able to take that with you throughout the rest of your day and hopefully into your new week. Thank you for your practice and your presence. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. On Zoom or here, let me know if you have any questions. And here we'll just leave the blocks and I'll grab them and clean them up for you. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. What's left of it. And hopefully we'll see you all next week. Bye, Sophia.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.